So right now, World of Warcraft Classic is still all the rage. We're at about 1 month after release. It's still going strong, and I know I love playing it still just as much as before. So with that being said, sometimes you just gotta be mobile, but you gotta get your time into a game like that. And what better than a laptop? But if you don't have a lot of money, do you really have that many options? Turns out the answer is yes, so stay with me. My name is Chris, this is Coalition Gaming, and today I'll be your computer technician. So if you guys like PC tech, hardware, news, reviews, and tutorials, this is the place to be. Hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell for notifications as well. We always got more coming, so you definitely want to check out our upcoming and past content as well. We also stream every Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific. Speaking of streaming, right now I'm in a new room in my house, so I have a new setup, new streaming setup, and that's the setup we're shooting this video on today. So if things look a little different, that's why. So a game like World of Warcraft or any MMO, honestly, you really need to get your time in order to be able to accomplish stuff in any reasonable amount of time. So sometimes you can't always be home, and that's when a laptop comes in handy. Well, a lot of the time lately I have been out of the house somewhere else and have wanted to play WoW since its release. And well, I had an old laptop lying around that I was letting my wife use, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot on this one, because I took my LAN party setup to the house once, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but it's also a bit cumbersome. A laptop is always just a little bit easier to use, maybe not just a little bit, a lot of bit easier to use as a mobile gaming station. However, I only had one with integrated graphics, so I decided let's test it out. And I also had another spare one as well lying around that had a bad LCD that we're gonna try it on that one as well. So battle of the cheap laptops, and how cheaply can you guys get into World of Warcraft on the go? Let's do it. First up, my HP NV15, and that's got a 1366 by 768 screen, 720p, an i7 4710MQ CPU that's a 4-core 8-thread that could do 2.5 gigahertz base to 3.5 gigahertz turbo, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's all. It's got an SSD, I guess, so that might help, but let's get to that one. Then after that one is going to be the Acer Aspire M5. That one only has 6 gigs of RAM, an i5 4200U dual-core 4-thread CPU that's something like 1.5 to 2.5 gigahertz turbo, and also 1366 by 768 screen, but as I mentioned, the LCD doesn't work, so I hooked it up to an external monitor in order to do what I needed to do. Something this laptop was doing without Vsync on is you see this weird flickering all over the screen. Yeah, it's definitely having issues with Vsync turned off, all sorts of tearing, weirdness. It's just not good. And honestly, it feels like it runs worse. I'm getting weird frame times. It's just not good. So Vsync on when it comes to this, because realistically, WoW at 60 FPS is perfectly fine to play. And now Vsync on, and yeah, much better result. No weirdness, and it's smooth. Yeah, all right, let's continue. So here we are on the HP NV15, and this is one that we actually featured in a different video that'll be linked right above. We're gonna start the run here in Stormwind in the bank. Let's go. So right now I have to run Vsync, as you guys saw, and it's still holding 60 FPS. Now let me start the benchmark here in Afterburner. Alright, benchmark is running. Let's go. We're going to run out from the bank into Stormwind, where because there's so much, it should be pretty reflective of some of the worst performance you might get with this setup. And we went from 60 to below 50. We're still pretty far above 30, fortunately. So now we're going in the trade area. I haven't seen anything less than like 48-ish. 39, 35, 36, 41, but still definitely usable. Now the graphic settings, real quick, let me show you guys. 1366 by 768, 100% render scaling, Vsync on, everything to its lowest possible settings that it could go. So we're hanging out here at 40 FPS, standing still in Stormwind. Let's move around again. Let's fly on down to Sentinel Hill, and you guys will see the performance of flying over everything, which could be pretty intensive in some situations. And because of Vsync, it's holding a steady 60 more or less, We just dropped down to right under 60 right as I said that though, 53, 58, 59. But again, this is definitely usable. And there we have it. That's run number 1. Let's get to the other laptop. Alright, so here we are with the Acer Aspire M5 laptop. This has an i5 4200U. That's a dual core 4-thread CPU, 1.6 gigahertz base to a 2.6 gigahertz turbo. This is a very much a low power version of that i7. This is only a 15 watt CPU. This has Intel HD graphics 4400, whereas the other one had Intel HD graphics 4600. So this is still a step down in terms of CPU and GPU. And there's only 6 gigabytes of system RAM on this computer here. Now the LCD on it doesn't work. This was given to me to repair, and so I'm just going out through the HDMI of the laptop into a monitor, and the monitor is running at the same resolution as the other laptop, 1366 by 768, everything on the lowest settings as you can see here, and vertical sync is disabled. And I can see spikes above 60 FPS, but it is a little, like, the frame times are suffering with Vsync turned off. And just to keep things equivalent to the other computer, we're going to turn Vsync on. 60 FPS is still solid for something this cheap, so let's go. And so beginning the run here, we're going to go out from the bank. Oh yeah, this is way smoother with Vsync on. Oh yeah. Alright, and as soon as I say that, we come out here where it starts dropping. And we're getting very similar performance actually, which is kind of nice. We're in the 50s, I saw it drop into the 40s. Here with all the people in Stormwind in the trade district, running around. Over here into this area, looking towards this way, standing still. Alright, let's get to Westfall. This is actually doing surprisingly well. I thought it would be way worse, but it's pretty much right up there. So we're flying out to Sentinel Hill now, and we have a lot more view. Let's see how the FPS holds up with all the trees and world in view now. And it's still hanging around 60, which is nice because the bigger, better laptop was also pretty much in this range. And here we are, landed at Westfall, still holding a solid 60. We're gonna go ahead and call the benchmark there. And now we're back. So, as you guys saw, the gameplay was pretty solid actually. It tended to hang around 60 FPS in most scenarios, which is pretty impressive, I think. But at the same time, we used to play, at least I used to play, World of Warcraft with a single core CPU. That was my system. It was an Athlon 2500 Plus single core AMD system with a 9500 Pro and 256 megabytes of RAM, and it did okay. So yeah, I guess maybe I shouldn't be all that impressed, but either way, it did good. And the best thing about it is the fact that it could run on low-end integrated graphics means that you can get a cheap laptop to take on the go with you. And that's pretty important if you just want to get your game time in elsewhere, if you're hanging out with family, or you're just kind of not doing anything out and about, or just wanted to get out of the house and play some games. LAN parties maybe, that's a thing too. We do those, so yeah. But let's get to the numbers anyways, the specific benchmark numbers. So we have the Acer Aspire M5 coming in with an average FPS of 55.2, 1% low of 35.8, and a 1.1% low of 22.3. That's actually pretty solid. That's definitely in the playable range. And you're going to really want to use Vsync when it comes to these systems, because if you don't do Vsync, you get these weird issues, frame pacing issues that make it a little bit more jittery and not the greatest. But a game like World of Warcraft is probably just fine played at with Vsync on 60 FPS, not that big a deal. So this basically maintained it for most of its use. Average FPS sort of reflects that. And then let's check the HP Envy 15. Now these two systems were, they're similarly equipped, but one has 8 gigs of RAM, that's the NV15. The other one has 6 gigs of RAM, that's the Acer. One has Intel HD Graphics 4600, that's the NV15. The other one has Intel Graphics 4400, slightly lower end, that's the Acer Aspire M5. And they performed really closely despite that. So average FPS 57.5 on the NV15, 1% low of 33.8, and here's my favorite part, 0.1% low, 32.6. So even at its worst, it still stayed over 30 FPS, which is really good and definitely in the usable range. And it didn't look all that bad considering the graphics were turned down all the way for both models as well. Now, what the biggest difference you may encounter is if you're trying to do a bunch of things at once with these systems. The 4-core 8-thread CPU in the NV15 reflects that of a normal desktop kind of i7 from years past, and you got plenty of power there. However, the dual-core 4-thread Acer Aspire M5, you're going to be a bit more limited, so you maybe don't want to have a whole lot of stuff open if you're planning on using that one to play World of Warcraft or something of that level. And so integrated graphics on the Intel laptops at this point is, like, I believe they're considered 6th gen, and any gen before this is going to be half as fast for the gen after that, then half as fast for the gen before that, and before that, and before that. So you really tend to lose a lot of performance if you go anything older than Haswell or 4th gen CPU. I guess the starting point would be 6th gen graphics, or with the Haswell 4th gen CPU. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you want to get performance like this, it'd be really, really good to think about starting at the Haswell range. So how cheap of a laptop can you really get if that's what you're after, and you want to play WoW on the go and not really struggle with it all that much, but still have a decent experience instead of a 30 FPS high experience, which is probably what you would get with the older laptops. You want something that's going to be 60 FPS or closer to 60 FPS. So let's go on over to this screen over here. And so here we are on eBay. I searched i7 4710 MQ laptop. That's the same CPU that's in that HP NV15. And we see here $139.99 free shipping here on eBay. Now this is a Lenovo ThinkPad, and it does not have a hard drive, and it only has 4 gigs of RAM. Something tells me that that might be enough for World of Warcraft, but it's not the greatest in terms of RAM. However, you can throw in a $20 or $30 128 gig SSD, install Windows on that thing, and just wow, and you can have yourself a pretty solid experience. And as you can see, the next one up, 149, has 4 gigs of RAM, no hard drive as well. Then the next one up, this one looks like it's in worse shape judging on the picture, but it's a Dell Precision M4800, same CPU again, 4 gigs of RAM, no hard drive, meh. HP ZBook, these guys are kind of chunky. They're workstation level laptops. And again, this one has 8 gigs of RAM, so here we go. 500 gigabyte hard drive. You don't need to add any drives to this one. Windows 10, everything ready to go basically for $209. So let's have a look at that real quick. The condition of this laptop looks like it's in decent shape. Looks like there's a dent on the corner down here, and the corners are a little worn over here. There's a crack on that corner, and that's not nice. If you're willing to overlook all those things, it's a decent deal, assuming everything works. And according to the details here, yep, everything works. It's just cosmetic issues on there. Now, it does not have, oh, it does. You also see this exact laptop pictured, including a power adapter. That's neat because a lot of used laptops don't come with a power adapter. So it's not the best of shape, but it could get the job done. Let's see how these other ones look like. Next one up that has similar specs, 8 gigs of RAM, 450 gigabyte SSD. This is another ZBook, and this is at $215 plus 15 shipping, so $230. And let's see here, close-up pictures. This looks okay. That looks okay. That looks okay as well. So far, so good on this one. And it's got a 4710 MQ, 8 gigs RAM, 450 gig SSD, which is nice. It says gently used in very excellent shape. Windows 7 installed, Windows 10 upgrade rights, sold as is, no warranty offer implied. Now, it doesn't state whether it comes with the charger or not, so that may be something to be wary of, but they're only like $20 or $30 if it doesn't include one. Yeah, so not a bad deal. So we can definitely get you guys into WoW on the go for $200 to $250 on a laptop that, even if you stop playing WoW on it, they will serve very, very well as just a general use laptop for all sorts of stuff. Now, there's another CPU out there that's very similar to the i7-4710MQ, but it just has slightly slower clocks, but still has Intel HD graphics 4600. So that one is called the i7-4702MQ. And there's more laptops available there with that one. So here's this Lenovo ThinkPad E540. It's got 8 gigs of RAM and a 500 gig hard drive, ready to go. 189 out the door, it looks like, too. Maybe there might be tax or something like that. Let's see. It comes with the AC adapter as well, but it says something else. No accessories. So you get the laptop and the charger. That's all you need, really. And let's have a look at the condition here. Looks fine there. No cracks, nothing crazy. There's the specs. There's the lid. There's the side. Looks like this one is in really great shape, actually. And there you go. That's it. That's a 4702MQ, 2.2 gigahertz to, I think it's 3.3 or 3.4 gigahertz. 4-core, 8-thread Intel HD graphics 4600. This thing can play WoW definitely just fine on its screen. Now, I don't see what resolution it is, but if it's anything higher than 720p, then just turn the resolution down to 720p, and then you'll be set, just like we showed you guys here in the video. So you can actually get in under $200 for a laptop that can play World of Warcraft on the go, or just serve as a really nice laptop to use, and just in general. So that's neat. Real quick, I almost forgot to mention that laptops using the i5-4200U, like the Acer Aspire that I showed, can be had for around $100 as well. But you know, they come with low amounts of RAM, and they're missing hard drives and stuff like that. Now, if you wanted something a bit more complete, I found this Dell Latitude 3440 with the 4200U, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 250 gigabyte drive for under $130. Nice. And it looks like it's in decent shape as well. And then I also found this HP EliteBook 840, which uses the i5-4200U, 8 gigs RAM, and a 250 gigabyte SSD for $150. So it definitely is possible to get into it for even less than those other ones that I showed you. And we're back. So hopefully you guys find this information useful, and if you're looking to play World of Warcraft on the go, definitely I hope you guys check some of this stuff out, and maybe you enjoyed the video as well. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe. We always got more coming. We'd really appreciate that. We stream every Thursday 8 p.m. Pacific, and lately it's been a lot of WoW Classic with the homies. So real cool stuff. Thank you all for watching this video, and appreciate all of you. We'll see you in the next one.